The truth. Come on now. We'll see who's on the play here. I think that's actually really important in this matchup, too.
Yeah, if Lundquist is on the play, then game one can be acceptable. He's still probably an underdog to win, but not by that much. If he's on the draw game one, it's a big issue.
Well, to answer that question very quickly, he starts off with the Temple of Deceit, and we are underway here in round number 5 of action. Job will take a draw step.
Job also borrowed my mountains for this tournament, so now I'm going to see exactly how careful he is while he's shuffling.
Now, see, this is nice. See, there's an underlying theme to the matchup.
Little extra stress on my side.
Now, those are Christopher Rush mountains, correct? Am I right about that?
I believe Daniel Frazier is the artist.
My apologies. I had a feeling you would know.
Not 100%.
If you could get those signed, would you?
No.
No? Want them untouched?
Untouched.
All right. Founder Cheat Denizen will start things off. How about another one? How about a Frenzy Goblin? How about some beatdowns for 3?
3 copies of Bioplate in Lundquist's list. But it looks like a hand of Jason's Ingenuity, Thoughtseize, and lands.
Yeah, boy, he is land heavy. He's got to cast a Thoughtseize into this board, too. Take a look at Job's hand. You got a Wild Slash, a Mardu Scott, a Rabble Master, and a Mountain. Pretty good hand there for John.
Absolutely. I mean, Ben almost has to take the Rabble Master out of his hand, but Mardu Scout with the ability to leave up Wild Slash or activate Frenzied Goblin. It's a tough mixture of cards for Lundquist to overcome.
Like Mono Red as a choice in this format. I just don't think that players are fully prepared for it yet. There are, of course, a lot of good options against the deck, but it hasn't broken through and drawn enough attention to itself to, I think, warrant anyone making any drastic changes.
Well, Mono Red does catch a lot of splash damage in this format. Bioblight and Drown Sorrow, people are not putting them in their sideboards or main decks to beat Mono Red, but the cards are very good. Siege Rhino, Corsair Crewfix, there's some commonly played cards that are problematic, but the deck's got a lot going for it.
Bioblight the draw step, timely there for Ben, as he did take 8 last turn, would be taking 8 this turn, but he has found a removal spell.
Yeah, it had to be basically this turn for Ben to have some sort of shot. Gonna be tough though. Mardu Scout, very problematic in this spot. A lot of damage, and it avoids Crux of Fate, so that's not a draw for Lundquist here either.
There's a Swamp for Ben. Couple of Deltas in hand, Jason's Ingenuity. There's a Wild Slash that's going upstairs. Bioblight will take care of these Foundry Denizens now while he can. So Lundquist is going to go down to 6. Job's still at 20. He'll untap and draw. We know he's got Mardu Scout in hand. Didn't get a great look at what he drew. But he will dash this Mardu Scout yet again. Hoping that it's good. Looks like it is. Here's an attack for 4. Lundquist is going to go down to 2. Pass the turn back. Looks like the draw for Job last turn was a Lightning Strike. Perilous Vault to draw here for Ben. A bit on the slow side.
Yeah, alongside the Jason's Ingenuity, the Thoughtseize you've seen cast. This is the problems for Blue-Black Control game 1.
There's Mardu Scout. Ben is going to concede the game. Jonathan Job is going to win game number 1 here over Ben Lundquist. Mono Red Aggro very quickly up a game against Blue-Black Control. That's how Job likes it.
There it is, right there. I mean, Lundquist with a pretty slow start there. Didn't draw his one main deck, Drown in Sorrow, and Job with a very solid draw.
Sideboard time. We'll turn our attention this way. We will start with Ben Lundquist, which you have in front of you.
A Dark Betrayal, a Thoughtseize, a Disable Stroke, 3 copies of Negate, a Grind Clock, a Farika's Cure, a Bioblight, Drown in Sorrow, 2 copies of Doomweight Giants, a Crux of Fate, a Tassiker, and a Treasure Cruise. I think bringing in another Crux of Fate is fine. I think the Tassiker is very good here. It's just very big. 2 copies of Doomweight Giant, another Drown in Sorrow, another Bioblight, and another Farika's Cure. All big upgrades.
Other side here for Job. Got 3 Prophetic Flame Speakers, 3 Eidolon of the Great Revel, 2 Peak Eruption, 3 copies of the Mighty Forge Devil.
Oh, Mirror Match Technology.
Harnessed by Force, 2 Arc Lightnings, and a Scouring Sands, a card we've already seen earlier today be very, very good against Ivan Jen. What do we like here?
I really like the 3 copies of Eidolon of the Great Revel. Even if it triggers once, it's a pretty big success. And Prophetic Flame Speaker, very solid in Drown in Sorrow matchups, because it doesn't die to Drown in Sorrow, and if your opponent taps out for Drown in Sorrow and you get to untap with Prophetic Flame Sweeper, you can do a lot to undo the damage of the sweeper.
I am really hoping that that card finds a home at some point.
I think in the sideboard of Mono Red Aggro in Standard right now, it makes a ton of sense.
Just a sweet card. You don't have to do anything crazy with it, you know, like make it 10 power or something like that. It can just be a nice little card advantage engine.
Yep. When I saw it in the sideboard of the list from Houston last week, I don't remember the pilot's name, but it was a top 16 finish. I said, that makes a lot of sense. Totally understand why you would want that card.
Sure. It can be a game winner all by itself. So We'll see if Job does bring that in this particular matchup here against Ben, as he is up a game very quickly. Ben will be on the play for game number 2. And we'll talk about the winter collection here at Star City Games. New sleeves, new play mats, new dice bags.
Yeah, the gang's all here. The Mammoth, the Rat, the Wolf, and the Turtle Witness, all available on card sleeves, play mats, and dice bags. Head over to StarCityGames.com/creature collection to order your items today, or just head over to the dealer booth at any Star City Games Open or Grand Prix we run a booth at.
Those things are adorable.
Yep. We got the Wolf pin on February game night.
Yep. I bet you next month, I'm just working with no insider information here, it's going to be the Rat.
Seems like a reasonable guess.
That's my guess, because we've already done the Mammoth, and I don't know, I just don't have a feeling Eternal Witness is going to make an appearance just yet. Seems like more of an April thing. Probably way wrong about that, but we'll see for March's game night. But the winter collection is sweet. I know a lot of people have liked Eternal Witness, and you know, whoever thought of these ideas, these little puns and cool sleeves, pretty smart person.
I think so, yeah. For a while, Star City put a lot of emphasis on the animal puns. That's really good design space. As it turns out, people are excited just to get cute animals on things in general.
It's wide open design space. You can do anything you want with that.
Job just really riffling by mountains right now.
Yeah, how do you feel about this? Give me a good idea about how you feel about the way he's treating these lands here. Is he double sleeved?
Probably not. I would guess no.
So the value of your card going down with every shuffle.
It's really hard to justify double sleeving the old Foundry Street Denizen, Goblin Heel Cutter, Mardu Scout, Wild Slash deck. Unless, you care about your friend's possessions.
Which I think he's made very clear how he feels.
Yeah.
There is the Arabian Nights Mountain, which you have 20 of, I think?
More than 20. Job only needed 20.
Okay.
We were able to hook him up.
So you were so willing to give cards to a friend of yours so they could bend them on camera.
Yep.
Well, if that's not friendship, I don't know what is.
Time-honored tradition of turning the knife,
Yeah, would you do that for me?
Oh, easily.
Have you seen me riffle cards?
Yes.
You don't want to. I can be brutal.
The worst was definitely Brian Kibler. Loaning him cards is
see, that's your own fault.
I loaned him.
There are videos of him on the internet doing things to cards. You deserve that if you loan him cards.
I loaned him an Underground Sea for a Legacy Grand Prix, and then I failed to do well in the back half of day 2, and then just went by a match where Brian was playing, just destroying, just going to town on my Underground Sea.
I have no sorrow for you, no pity whatsoever. You give Brian Kibler a card, you let him borrow a card, you might as well just say keep the card.
He sold me plenty of stuff. Between friends is a small thing, but that was tough to watch.
His cards cry for help when they're shuffled.
That's true.
It's really tough to watch.
Particularly when it's your own Underground Sea.
Yep. Just like these mountains. And I hope what happens here is maybe Ben gives Job's deck a hearty shuffle here, knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what will occur next.
Just a lot riding on this match for me in a number of respects. 2 friends of mine.
And 20 mountains of yours.
20 mountains. Not especially cheap mountains.
I know those Arabian Nights mountains, they do not come cheap. I know you like them a lot.
But they all, in Job's defense here, they all are pretty played at this point.
I would assume as much.
I don't have any near mints left, that's for sure.
I would assume. Dismal Backwater is going to start it up. Ben's at 21. Joe will draw. There is one of those mountains. Here's a Foundry Street Denizen. Pass the turn back. Dissolve the draw.
Trying to figure out how does he want to time all these comes into play tap lands. Hand's got Bile Blight and Dissolve, so this is pretty complicated.
There's Urborg. Kick it over. Take a draw. Will Job. I think he may have needed that money. I think he may have kept the 1-lander.
Yeah, that looks like land number 2.
Yep. Swift Spear. Attack step. Perhaps a Bile Blight.
Well, if Ben was willing to play his untapped land here on turn 2, I would imagine he's planning on Bile Blighting, you know, boom or bust, even if this is the best he can get for it.
He'll go after the Denizen. Leave the Swiss Spear alive, take a point of damage. Follow up, Denizen. Good sequencing by Job. Pass that turn back, Island the draw, timely. That allows Ben to play a Dissolve. He'll pass the turn back over to Job. Job will draw. Mountain. Can't forget, Jonathan Job is a former Legacy Open champion. We were in Vegas a few years ago during 2012. Also an Invitational Top 8 competitor when we were in Los Angeles during 2012.
Same is true of Lundquist, an Open Series champion and an Invitational Top 8 competitor.
Yep. Solid resumes for both players. As now here is the mighty heel kata. It's going to be dashed, so I'm sure Ben is wondering if he can counter that.
Or if he would want to.
Touche. I think he's just got to keep things off the board.
Blue-black control is so much worse in these kind of matchups than something like Sultai because it's hard for Ben to play to the board. The only real card that these decks typically have to improve the mono-red matchup is Jurabai Merklorker. That card is really powerful. Ben with 0 copies in his list.
Ben will dissolve that. Take a look at the top card. It goes to the bottom very quickly. Here's an attack for 2. Lundquist down to 18. So at 18 life going to his 4th turn, can't be too unhappy, I think.
This is not bad, but there's still pressure on him to find one of his power cards. And I think that Drown in Sorrow is his top card, and that certainly qualifies.
He's going to leave that card on top. He'll pass the turn back over to Job. Job will untap his 2 cards. He'll take a draw. Prophetic Flame Speaker in hand. Let's see what this will be. It is the Flame Speaker. Ben wants to take a look at that one too. We'll do the same.
And if I'm correct in that the card left on top was Drown Sorrow, this sets up a very nice turn here for Lundquist to Heroes Downfall the Flame Speaker, untap, Drown Sorrow away everything. Still needs to find a thing to do, but at that point even Jace's Ingenuity or Dig Through Time represent big draws.
There's the Drown. Everything's going away. Top card stays on top. Ben going to figure out what land to play. He'll go with the Swamp. Last card in his hand is a Temple of Deceit. Pass that turn back over to Job. Stoke the Flames the draw.
Yeah, Ben left on top. Then he wants to save that Scry land for somewhere else down the line.
Doomwake Giant.
Hoodalali.
Yeah, it's just how he drew it up. Comes in, takes care of 1 toughness creature. See you later.
Tough to see. Tough to watch.
Ben's last card is a Temple. Leaves the card on top, pass the turn back. Lightning Strike's going upstairs. Joe's going to try to burn him out. Put him down to 12.
Not impossible with Lundquist with no cards in hand, but definitely not easy.
Well, can't forget, Ben kept his top card on top. Here's an attack for forward. Joe goes down to 16. Ben tapping some mana here for something in the main phase. Tassiger. Well, he's making this look easy.
4/5s are really good against mono red. Once they get into play, they're really sweet.
You don't say. Cards that can't be hit by Stoke the Flames. Wild Slash going upstairs. Ben's down to 10. Job will draw. There is a Mighty Frenzied Goblin.
Nice.
Time for a Tasker activation. Island and Bile Blight. Well, how about that? Take a draw. You like blighting this out of the way just so we can go do it in 2 turns?
I like 16 to 8 to 0.
He'll attack this way instead. Job will not block, so he's at 8. Can play Delta if he'd like. There is the blue to Delta. Pass the turn back over to Job. Job will draw. Mountain. Final land number 4 for that Stoke the Flames. That'll come down. There's the Blight. Activate the Tassiger. Doomwake or Bile Blight. Those are the options. Job says I will select neither one. Pack it up. Let's do a third one, shall we?
Well, that actually is some valuable information there for Job, insofar as I don't think he would play around just the 1 Doomwake Giant very hard, but seeing 2 in the sideboard means, you know, Ben's a lot more likely to have it.
All information is pretty good information.
Yeah,
so.
when my opponent has a one of, or something that I suspect is a one of, normally doesn't influence how I'm playing very much. It's one of those, if I can afford to play around it sort of deals, then I will, but I'm not going to go out of my way. With the second copy, then it starts entering, all right, I'm going to go out of my way to try to play around this.
Well, a little information out the door there. Oh, if you're Job, you got to be happy because Game 3 is going to be on the play. That's a good spot to be in, too.
For sure. But you can tell Ben with a lot of good action in the sideboard here. Doomweight Giants, Tassikers, Bio Blights, Drown in Sorrows, a good recipe.
Plenty of good options. We'll see if Ben's able to draw them or if Job is able to get the job done very quickly in Game 3 here in just a second. But we will talk about Season 2 of the Open Series. It's a shorter one, but we'll kick it off in Syracuse.
We have Syracuse, Providence, Cleveland, and Seattle, which will all be standard opens. We, after Seattle, which your hometown, we're going to be going to Dallas. Our one Legacy Open of Season 2 in Worcester, Massachusetts. And then the Season 2 Invitational in Columbus, Ohio. Modern and standard as the invitational formats with a modern 2-day Open Series attached. June 5th through 7th, tied to the Origins Game Fair. Me, you, and Matthias in the booth.
Going to be a sweet set of dates, but it is a shorter season. It'll take us into the middle of the year, into June, working our way towards July. It'll be here before we know it. We know that. If last year was any indication, this year is going to go by pretty fast, too.
Yes. Every weekend full of purpose. If it's a show, that's something that's noteworthy, and if it's not a show, that's also something that's
what a delight.
Right.
Doing nothing for two and a half days is wonderful. They say time moves fast when you get older. They're not kidding.
You're, what, 27?
28, turned 29 in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Not really that old.
Pretty old, dude. Pretty old. Life's passing me by, moving right along. Not as old as you. Won't reveal your age on air. Too nice to do that.
Really?
But
I'm not that
you're
old.
old.
And I'm an old soul anyway. It doesn't really matter to me too much.
It's true.
Benjamin Button really resonated with me. It's like because I look pretty young for my age, or I have historically. So. Oh, a 60-year-old who looks like he's 19? Yeah.
Nice.
I totally get this.
Nice. Haven't seen that one. Heard it was good, though.
It's fine.
Good way to kill a couple hours.
Sure. It's fine.
Not Brad Pitt's crowning achievement?
No. I would say no.
I wonder what Brad Pitt's best movie is.
He was pretty awesome in Fight Club. I think that's a fine choice.
Did do some good work there. I'm a big fan of the Ocean series. Even though it's not his movie, I like the work he did in those. And I've heard the Button movie also good.
Inglourious Basterds, a fine choice.
Good, solid.
Another good
solid.
performance.
There's a movie recently with him driving around in a tank. Fury, I believe.
Watched it on the airplane. It was fine.
Yeah. Fire Drink Crusader. That's going to start things off here. One of your favorites.
Fire Drinker Satyr?
You love this card. You were always trying to get people to play this card.
Well, I mean, I won a PTQ with Jackal Pup, so this thing to me is just cheating. Like, I can't even believe this is a card they let you play with.
You absolutely love this thing.
Every set of a new block, R&D just makes some rare little beater that's attractive for these kind of decks. And I just couldn't be happier.
Mardu Scout's getting dashed in. It's an attack for 5 on turn number 2. Lundquist is already down to 15.
Like, are you kidding me with this card? Who even cares if Joe wins? I don't care at all. I would already feel like I won.
I find it very compelling if you're supposed to dash or if you're supposed to play it there.
Well, this game, Job is going to just be trying to work around Drown in Sorrow as much as he possibly can. On the play, he's got a really good shot of winning the game as long as he doesn't get crushed by Drown in Sorrow and or Bio Blight. So all of his plays are going to be through that paradigm. Avoid losing to those cards.
Despise. A Satyr, a Scout, a Frenzied Goblin, along with Lightning Strike and a Mountain here for Joe.
For example, you might see him just dump mana into Fire Drinker Satyr next turn. Let's say the Scout gets selected out of this hand. I think it's reasonable for Job to go attack you, pump, and play Frenzy Goblin after combat. That way, Drown in Sorrow, you still have some stuff left over your hand, and Bioplate's only killing one thing.
Well, Job will draw a card.
Or you just draw, is that Goblin Realm Master?
I think so.
You can just do that too.
Well, you still got to worry yourself with Drown in Sorrow, though.
Yep, but you at least have some things left over in the chamber.
So I like this way better because if he gets drowned now, I like having Rebel Master in the chamber.
Sure.
That's what I like. Because then you get a Goblin with it, then Ben Heroes downfalls the Rebel Master, and you still have something left on the table.
This is a fine play. The risk here is that just regular removal spells and dissolves are much more powerful against this line of play.
Absolutely.
Because your hand's clogged with an expensive spell now.
Ben will pass.
This is the safe play. I still think it's fine.
Because now the Fire Drinker Satyr pumping is kind of out the window. Because your opponent has 3 mana, so Bile Blight, Hero's Downfall, what have you are available. So I can see where you're coming from.
I'm not saying there's no merit to the play that Job made last turn. I think that Goblin Rabble Master is just so awkward in his hand right now, and probably for the rest of the game, that, yeah, Drown in Sorrow would have been really bad last turn, but I don't think the Goblin Rabble Master is worth very much at this point.
Well, it's just really tough because you have to pick your path.
Because what's going to happen here? He's going to attack. Let's say Ben uses a removal spell inside of combat. Are you committing your Rabble Master? Probably not if you're playing around Drown Sorrow. But what if Ben just takes the hit?
Sure.
You're playing it post-combat? Probably not.
Probably not. Almost certainly not, actually.
You can see now Job's a little jammed up. Like, everything's a little bit harder to execute now.
Oh, you're just facing an opponent who has mana available. It's tough. And Ben has Hero's Downfall and Bile Blight, so he's going to use the more expensive one. Not much of a surprise there. Joe will get a point of damage across. The follow-up is the other Fire Drinker Satyr. There's a Mountain, pass it back. Lundquist will draw. Dissolve. There's an island. Kick it over. Joe will untap and draw. Still stuck with that Route Master. Picked up a copy of Mardu Scout. An interesting draw step, to be sure.
Mardu Scout's a great draw here. Because, again, Job does not really want to have to commit that Rabble Master to the table.
And Ben says, I got to counter this. So there's Dissolve very quickly. Top card goes to the bottom. Job has free reign to attack now. And pump, he will. So 4 points of damage will come across. Lundquist is down to 7. Job willing him away. Getting him low and getting him into burn range. Polluted Delta the draw. Such an important one for these decks, but that 1 point of damage actually matters in this matchup.
It does, but land number 5 untapped is the big one because it allows Lundquist to both cast Bile Blight and Dissolve, which is a lot of protection.
Eidolon of the Great Revel the draw. Here's the attack. There's a Bile Blight. Looks like 1 damage will come across. I understand, Ben Lundquist has been here many times before in these types of situations, as here's Lightning Strike going upstairs. I like Job leading off with that spell a lot.
Yep.
That's a really, really good play.
This is a huge deal now if that Eidolon sticks.
Yeah, that's a really smart play. Eidolon's a bigger problem than the burn spell. There's the Eidolon, pass turn back. Smart play by Job. Ben will draw.
But Ben needs to scry so desperately there. And if that Lightning Strike resolves, you might be saying at home, well, why doesn't Ben just wait for the second spell? There might not be a second spell.
Yep.
Job might just say go.
Yep.
Strand the Dissolve in hand.
Mountain the draw to go along with the Rabble Master. The question now is, will he commit the Rabble Master to the table?
I mean, if it sticks and Lundquist doesn't do anything, it means that Ben goes to 2, and now Drown in Sorrow is no longer now. So it's pretty attractive to cast the Rabble Master here.
Looks like he will. Goblin Rabble Master. Ben will look at his grip. Dissolve and a Delta. Dissolve. Job looks like he's remembered his trigger with his Eidolon. That'll put him down to 4. Take a look. Top card to the bottom.
So now Lundquist needs to find exactly Crux of Fate or something similar.
Doomwake.
Can't be a cheap spell.
I did not get a great look at that draw. He's going to extend the hand. Wasn't what he was looking for. Jonathan Job going to win this game and match here over Ben Lundquist. Mono Red Aggro will take care of blue-black control. Job moves on to 4-1.
And you can see the card that it looks like Lundquist set to the bottom there was Silence the Believers, or some number of turns ago was set to the bottom, and Silence the Believers would have been perfect in that spot, would have killed both creatures without triggering Eidolon. Now, Lundquist needs a ton of help from there. He's at 1, no cards in hand, basically, against a mono red aggro player. Pretty unlikely he wins under any